Football, by the hell.
Old Trafford, this is the theatre of dreams. Will you please welcome...
Hello and welcome to the Busby Way podcast, episode 6. Bloody hell, what a milestone again.
What a milestone.
Incredible scenes. Obviously, it's me, United Macca, talking all things Man United. Joined with me is the Oracle of Old Trafford, Bradley. How are we doing, mate? You good?
I feel happy. I feel English. I was doing the old FIFA thing. It's so nice to be doing this podcast, reflecting on a Manchester United win after that crap that was West Ham last week.
That's it. And if you just tune in, this is being recorded straight after that win against Wolves. Obviously, it was a bit touch and go at times, but drawing at half-time. But we came away with the win. A nice routine 4-1 in the end, which was nice to see. But how big a win is that for Man United, would you say?
Well, it's only the second time we've won a second half this season. So I'd say it's a massive win. It was a must-win game. But every single Manchester United game is a must-win game. And realistically, we've come away with 3 points. We're, 5th, 6th in the league, joint 5th, whatever, and we move.
Yeah, I think that's it. We've found ourselves in a good position despite results lately. We're currently 5th. We're joint with Chelsea, am I right in saying?
Yeah.
We're just behind on goal difference. Chelsea getting a lot of flowers across punditry up and down the country. United quietly going about the business.
Oh, because they're a good young team that has not had £2.5 billion spent on it in the last 3 years by, Clear Lake Capital. What is that all about?
Yeah, it seems like they get a bit of a pass, don't they? But I think it's good for us because we're going up lead. I think we've got to 5th, which no one's going to be talking about because we beat Wolves and that was routine and it was to be expected. But there was that moment when it was 1-1, and if United hadn't have come out with a win tonight, where do you think that would have left Amorim? Because I think that is where he would have been hitting his biggest pelters. Surely.
I think it would have been question time for Amorim, not as in let's get him gone or any of that stuff, but serious questions would have had to be answered, because you have to look over these last 3-4 games. His in-game management just hasn't been up to snuff for me. I think in the West Ham game, taking off the players he did at the time he did, gave the impetus to West Ham, and we come away from Old Trafford again not getting the victory, which it should have been a routine victory, because their midfield is as slow as me.
Yeah, that's it, with an Achilles injury as well.
Yeah, exactly.
But I thought, I feel like obviously tonight we're between a rock and a hard place. If we win, so what? It's Wolves. If we lose, you are the worst team in the history of football. And I feel like if we'd done that and we'd end up where we were, I think Amorim seriously would have had a lot of pressure on him tonight. And I think coming away with that win, even though it was a convincing 4-1 in the end, I think, does it change anything about United this season? Have we learned anything from that match?
Well, you can't learn things from every game. You just have to take routine wins when they come. And, the thing with Manchester United over the last couple of years, there hasn't been many routine wins. We've not had many of those things, those moments where we've gone, oh, that was nice and routine. They did have a nice wobble before half-time after we got the goal. And then it was kind of like, well, let's drop off for absolutely no apparent reason against the worst team I've seen in the Premier League. Other than the lad who took off Bellegarde, who scored their goal, I thought they were so poor. They were just fodder. Yeah,
I thought that was it. I think for me in the second half, we were in danger of being pulled into a dogfight, and it was just a scrappy match. And then when we just took our foot off the gas a little bit and started playing with a bit of class, spraying balls around, opening up defences, it was a much better game for us.
Well, it was Mason Mount's best game in a United shirt. I think he was a class above tonight. I think Bruno comes away with 2 goals and a couple of assists, I think. But Mason Mount tonight was just everything that we wanted from Mason Mount when we signed him. And he's been really positive this season. He's got more games than he did last season, but that's not difficult, And he was absolute class.
Well, I think that's the thing with Mount. I think we've said about 3-4 times this season that's been his best game in the United shirt. And that's just showing because he's having a run of games in the team.
Yeah.
But I thought tonight his ball playing was incredible. His vision to let people in. Him and Ahmad. Ahmad was always finding his pockets. He was finding him. He just doesn't stop running. Obviously didn't complete 90 minutes because he's only done that once for United, as you said last week. But I thought he was incredible. I think players like him are going to be so important during AFCON when we're losing Mbemo and hopefully not Mazraoui.
Yeah, I've never been hopeful of a niggling injury, as when Mazraoui went down in the first half after that shocking tackle on him, which should have been a red card, by the way. Again, doesn't happen. But I was hoping that he had a little injury that would rule him out of AFCON, but then conveniently make him available for the Christmas fixtures.
Yeah, well, I think that was it. I mean, I've got to say, I don't think it was a red card. I think it was a bad challenge. I think it's in slow-mo, looks worse than it was. It was definitely a yellow, but I don't think it was a red.
If you look at some of the tackles that have been given a red card this season, it's definitely up there. And the standard of officiating is just absolutely dog in the Premier League.
Yeah, I agree with that, but that's just saying that because the standard is bad, that should be a red is a different argument, I suppose.
The first time we'll have to say we'll agree to disagree.
No, I was about to say no, we said it last week, but then that's Exhibit B. But yeah, no, I thought, like I said, Mount, great game for him today. Bruno was a great game for him. Kuna going back to his old team. What do we think about him tonight?
I think he had 8 shots. I think he had the most shots of any United player, and he gets the assist for Bruno, doesn't he? Because for one of the worst goals I've seen.
Yeah, that was ridiculous, wasn't it?
That was just Sunday League football, wasn't it, from the Wolves defence?
It was just missing mud.
You know, that I did empathise with the Wolves fans who were just turning away and watching the wall. You know what I mean? It was just like, we've had it bad, so you can't. And the camera just kept cutting to the bloke in the Christmas hat. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you'd take it off, wouldn't you?
You would take it off.
I think if he knew the camera was closed up on it with his Wolves, that he would have took it off. But yeah, like I said, routine win. We haven't really learnt too much. All we've done is just get our head down and win that. Obviously, I think one of the things is in recent weeks, before the Everton game, we said we've got a nice, convenient, nice run of games that we should be picking up wins from. We've not done that.
Yeah.
Obviously, with Villa and Newcastle on the horizon, it was important to pick up these 3 points. Do you think that gives us a bit more momentum, or it's the start of some momentum going into these next couple of games?
I think we're kind of like the Forrest Gump of football teams, aren't we? The box of chocolates, you never know what you're going to get with Man United. And, you know, we'll turn up against Villa because they're quote-unquote a big team. And we'll turn up in the other game because, you know, we just will. But I am disappointed with the last 5 games for Manchester United overall. I mean, Palace is that one that stands out as a positive result. However, we've just not taken the opportunity that's been with us. If you look at the collective of that run of games.
And I think the narrative of the Premier League is all the teams around us have been losing points. Yeah. And it's like, oh, this is a great opportunity for us to climb up the table. Like, take the Tottenham game, for example. Yeah. We win that game, we go up to second, albeit for a few hours. Same against Nottingham Forest and Everton, we could have climbed up into the top 4, and we lose that. And I feel like every time we've had an opportunity, we haven't taken it. Yeah. And that's really been frustrating for me. But I think one of the most frustrating things is when we've been having these games, like you said, we go goal up, and we just seem to kind of go, right, we'll sit back and defend this rather than like actually finishing a team off, which is kind of what we did tonight. Yeah. But you expect to do that against Wolves, I suppose.
You expect to do that against Wolves, but you kind of don't with a Manchester United at the moment. Like, I put out on TikTok, like, my prediction of 3-1, by the way, not 4-1. But the majority of responses were like, scrape a 1-0. Scrape a 1-0. And I think that's where United fans feel at the moment. I mean, on the Finalysis app, Man United fans predicted 3-1 as a whole, and the Wolves fans actually predicted to lose 3-1 as well, which they weren't. You know, they know their
pessimism
team.
In
they know their team.
There.
You know, they know their team.
Yeah, that's it. But I think it was. I think there is something to be said though that like you don't understand what United are at the moment. Are they a team that could turn over these by 4 goals, or is it always scraping 1-0 wins? We must be a gambler's nightmare trying to predict the score, because at the moment we haven't really got any of that consistency going in terms of performance and results. What do you think needs to change for that to work?
Well, we've spoke about the first 11 being a good first 11 before, and you know the sort of the side acts haven't really had enough minutes. Tonight we've seen Aidan Heaven get good minutes, and I think he looked good tonight. Much more positive than last week, and you know Yoro came back in and looked strong. I think there was a couple of moments that were really positive for Yoro when he came on. So that's good ahead of losing Macca for the AFCON. But I think it's about integrating the squad players into the team. I think that's the key that we need to really build upon, because we are just, as a squad, we look weak on paper after the first 11, you know.
That's it. There's not much depth in that team, is there?
No.
And speaking of players who kind of need to integrate into the team, there's a young lad called Mainoo. I'm not sure if you've heard of him.
Okay.
He managed to get on tonight. How did he impress for you?
I was made up that he actually he came on for Casemiro, and he played, you know, as the deep line playmaker. And I thought he didn't take the customary 10-15 minutes to get into his 3-minute cameo. Which it must be hard for a young player to come on and expect to do something in a game when you don't really have the time to do it. But they had 9 minutes to add on. He didn't give the ball away. He held it up well. He kept the ball going. And I think it was a positive. You know, he didn't rip up any trees by any doubt, but he certainly wasn't at fault for anything, and the team didn't look weaker with him in it, which is a positive thing for Kobe.
Exactly.
And I like his haircut as well.
Very good haircut,
fresh.
definitely. Yeah, very fresh trim for the
Fresh
match
trim.
for these 5 minutes I'm going to play.
Yeah.
But I think that was it. I think it's with Casemiro. Obviously, he's getting older. You can't.
Aren't we all?
Time's contagious. We're all getting old. But I think with Casemiro, sorry, he is getting older. You can't be expecting him throughout the whole season to be relying on him. He doesn't play 90 minutes most of the time. Do you think it was good to see him being tested in that kind of holding role? Because there's the kind of understanding that if he comes on, it'll be for Bruno.
Yeah.
But he came on for Casemiro. Do you think it's... Obviously, we've had a good look at what you guys like in that position and what that role is. Do you think it was important for us to get a look at him playing that deeper role?
Well, Ugarte's not passed the sniff test as a United player. That's a fact. Mainoo has had great moments in a Manchester United shirt. So we expect him to be able to get to those heights again. This formation isn't really a Kobe Mainoo formation. You know, if you were looking at the Ten Hag Kobe Mainoo, but time waits for no Mainoo, and he looks good. He looks good now. So let's hope he can get a few games under his belt while the boys are off at AFCON. Hopefully they get out in the first round and have to come back.
Yeah, and I think he's going to be quite important over the Christmas period. I think we'll be seeing a bit more of him. But do you think we're any closer to him starting a game for United?
I don't know, is the honest answer. You know, only Ruben knows, and he keeps saying that he just wants to pick a team to win. And if you'd have asked me a couple of weeks ago, I would have said, why is he picking Diogo Dalot? Yeah. But that guy has turned it around.
He's turned a corner, hasn't he?
He's turned it a corner. He can high-five who he wants,
That's it. We all endorse you.
We all endorse, you know, his goal against West Ham, lovely. He looked great tonight. You know, he was aggressive. I loved his assist from Buemo. I loved his energy there. I thought... He had a good chance earlier, and he forced a good save out of Sam Johnson, and he looks like he's turned a corner, Dalot, which I'm made up for him because he's a trier, right? You know. And
again with Ahmad going to AFCON, like we're going to need to
stop telling me about the players going to AFCON. It's making me sad. What are we going to do without
Mazraoui's staying then? But with him going, obviously we need to have these solutions. Dog, who's blowing hot and cold a little bit. Obviously Dalot, we need him in good form.
When did he blow hot? Sorry.
Yeah, well, lukewarm.
Lukewarm. No, Dorgu's not a bad lad. So you know,
I like it. I think he's just very raw. I think that's the main thing to say, which is sitting on the fence speak for. He's just not been doing that great.
He's not that great.
Yeah, but no, I think he is good. He is very raw talent, and he is look good. I think he lacks a bit of composure going through it, but he is. I do like what he's about, and I think he's definitely coming to his own over the next year or so.
And I was a bit critical of Amarin in the last episode, and I think I made a point though about Dalot taking the bait. I think Dorgu just needs to take the bait now because he is going to be needed with the boys off in AFCON. We do need that overlapping left-sided wing back. We need that player to be positive and then have an end product. The thing with Dalot is he's looking like the end product's coming, which is really, really good. So there's options in there. If he's not turning up though, Dorgu, you can always bang Shea Lacey there or one of the fledglings.
Yeah, would you like to see him playing a bit more, Shea Lacey?
I would love to see him give an opportunity because he's one of the most exciting young players that I've seen in the academy for a few years. Obviously, him and JJ look obviously JJ's a little bit younger, but Shea Lacey's had his injuries, but I just think he looks classy on the ball. He reminds me a lot of Phil Foden, but objectively, Phil Foden's a really good English product, and as much as it pains me to say it, he's a really good player, and he's come really good this season, which is nice to see. For the World Cup for England, that is, not for Manchester City. But I think Lacey has got a good future ahead of him if he gets the opportunities, and I hope we continue to blood youngsters under Amarin. He's not really done that much lately, which is concerning for me. But I want to see United invest in youth a little bit more. Yeah,
and I think, to be honest, looking at the lower age groups, there's a lot of promising young talent coming through.
So much talent, It was good to see Carrick's lad get on the other day, and we bashed the Scousers a couple of weeks back, and another good clear win on the weekend, and I think whatever's happening within the club there, it looks like they've got a nice winning culture, which then now needs to transfer over to the first team.
Yeah, it would be helpful.
It would be very, very helpful. But, people that I like, that I want to see come through, there's a good centre midfielder. His name's just jumped out of my head. Fletcher, I want to see both the Fletcher twins come through. We've obviously got Chido Obi knocking around somewhere, and I'm really disappointed that we've not had him on the bench.
I think, wasn't there a thing during the Grimsby game, because he wasn't started over Sesko, didn't he change something in his Instagram bio about Man United or something? And I think that's all a bit of bollocks. He's been playing well. I think you get him in. I don't think that'll be anything. What are we going to do? It's just surface level.
It's just surface level noise. I think yes, these youngsters have got a bit more about them from a shade perspective, not quite at the 50 Cent levels, but like they've got a bit about them when they feel wronged. We saw that with the likes of Garnacho, who doesn't regret leaving, and other talented people that have left recently. So
yeah, but that's it. I know he did throw his toys out the pram, but it wasn't as if he's an Egyptian striker.
I know, isn't that lovely to see? You asked me cheekily before we started recording, would I take Mo Salah?
So would you take Mo Salah?
And the answer's yes, just for the tears, just for the river of tears that it would create on Merseyside. And I won't do the impression that I did, but I certainly expect, if Mo Salah left Liverpool and he went to Manchester United, it would cause the biggest storm you'd ever see. Michael Owen would be the happiest man in the world because he would no longer be public enemy number one. The Steven Gerrard thing of when he wanted to go to Chelsea, it would just eclipse anything. It would be the popcorn moment of the year, bar the Diddy documentary.
Yeah, I mean, all right, then question for you. Let's say Salah wants out, United put a bid in for him, we get Salah. Would he start for United?
Over Mbeumo?
Yeah.
I think you'd have to make it work, wouldn't you? You'd have to make it work for a season or two. I think you'd be lying if you said Mbeumo is better than Mo Salah. You'd be lying. Mbeumo has got more future ahead of him. Mbeumo looks a really good player, but Mo Salah, he's one of the best wingers, in the last 10 years. Yeah, but
right now, if you have both players on your team, who starts?
Well, it's not Josh Xerxes. I would accommodate, Mo Salah and Mbeumo in that front three.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, cool. Yeah, like I said,
I want him? Not really, but just for the shits and giggles.
Yeah,
really.
just to see the amount of boiled urine across.
Well, I've got some old friends from school who are diehard Liverpool fans, and just to be on their Instagram stories for the day. Do you know what I mean? Just to see what Peter Roberts has put, who goes to Liverpool home and away. It just make my day.
Yeah, that's it. But speaking of players who are here, Bruno today, great performance, captain's performance. Would you say two goals, 2 assists? Was it?
I think so. I think he got 2 assists, but he got the penalty and he got that really, 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 really awful goal. That it's a great finish. You know, it's a really, really good finish. His assist for Mount,
I think that was incredible. Yeah. I think that's one of the best bits of movement we've done all season.
And Mason Mount finishes it really well. But the vision from Bruno, he sort of half looks, but then he knows where Mason's going to go and puts it into a brilliant area. And it's just what he does. Yeah. The fact that, Mount played well, right? But Bruno got a goal and 2 goals and an assist, or 2 assists. I can't remember. It was 1 assist, not 2. And he's not considered as man of the match. So it speaks volumes of what we expect from El Capitan.
It's interesting because obviously Bruno half looks, sees Mount make that run. Would you like to see more players making that kind of movement for Bruno and anticipating a bit more?
It's what that formation requires. It needs the attacking midfielders and the striker to make a run in behind. Deep runs are really important. That type of ball is what we've been having and seeing from Casemiro.
It's so dangerous to defend.
It's so difficult to defend, and it only takes one of them to hold, and one of them to be out of position, and you've got a clear shot on goal. And I think Bruno attempted it a minute or two later with Cunha, but just got the pass wrong. But he was brilliant tonight, Bruno, and deservedly took his goal as well.
I think Cal, the producer, called it when we were watching it, saying, it's a good goal when you're like, was he onside? When you think when you're on category, you think he's onside.
But then he's like a mile onside, and it's just a lovely finish. And if you look at Mason Mount's goals for Manchester United, don't look at the volume, but watch quality. The goals. There are some top finishes in there. And I think
was a great one after a great move as well.
Would you take him to the World Cup?
Mount, I think he's got a lot to do to get back into the team. I don't think it's impossible for him to get there. He's got the history with Tuchel and stuff. Yeah. I just feel like he's not going to get a consistent game time at United to qualify to get into the squad. But do I take him? Probably at the moment not, because he's only playing cameo parts. But I think he's good enough, more than good enough to be in that squad.
I think we need a song for Mount, don't we? Yeah. I think we're lacking a song for Mount. We tried before, didn't we? We tried, but if any of our watchers want to give a go at a song for Mason Mount, let us know.
I think at the moment we've just got Operation Blade, haven't we? Which is Mason the Place London.
Mason the Place London.
Yeah, I think that's all we've got.
That's all we've got, which means we're dry. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, maybe if he plays more, we can test it out and see how it works on the terrace. Operation Blade blast around Old Trafford would be a sight to behold.
That would be a sight.
It would be a sight. But so obviously we play tonight, Monday night game. Our next game is Monday night next week. Obviously, it's a bit of a bugbear here, isn't it? Monday night football.
I think just the way the schedule has been this year, it's just crap. I think we've had it'll be our 4th Monday night game.
Is that right?
Yeah, it'll be our 4th Monday night game. And what are you meant to do there? You know, we've already got a distinct lack of games at Old Trafford because we're, you know, look, we don't have a divine right to play on a Saturday afternoon. You have to do stuff for TV. But surely you don't say three of our last 4 fixtures will have been on a Monday if you with Bournemouth. It's shocking, and you know, it's really messing with my schedule because I train the kids on 7 till 8, and it's really difficult to get to a game because I train on a Monday night.
Are they not getting your letters? The Premier League.
They're not getting my letters.
Dear Mr. Premier League.
Dear Mr. Premier League, you've got to take the Prestwich Gladiators into consideration when you do the fixtures. Yours, angry Manchester United fan.
Yeah. Speaking of which, congratulations to an angry Manchester United fan.
Massive congratulations to Ginge, and I think he won it being himself. And isn't it just nice to see a young lad do well by just being himself? You know, what's when you look back on how people have got famous recently, you know, we won't talk about Bonnie Blues and that, but you know, he just loves football, and he's also a nice lad. He's a coach in the BBDFL, which I'm a league sec of. He's got Winton United. He does a lot for all of the local causes, and I just think it's nice to see someone get the recognition they deserve.
Did you see the clip of him in the jungle when he was told the United results?
I did.
It is incredible.
I wish you'd not. And to be honest, I wish I didn't watch them.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
I was in the jungle at the time, eating a kangaroo ball.
I think when we recorded the Everton game, it took us a good 40 minutes to be up for the podcast.
yeah, that was it.
You know, it was. And the visuals went missing that week as well. So
probably for the best.
Probably for the best.
Streams of tears. But obviously, again, looking forward, then we've got Bournemouth coming up, like we said, on Monday. What's the game plan there? Do we change anything from tonight? Do we personnel, tactics? Obviously, tactics probably won't change. But what do you want to see?
Well, we struggled against Everton in pre-season, and then we destroyed Bournemouth in pre-season, right? From a tactics perspective, I think the Amarim formation suits playing the likes of Bournemouth because Bournemouth try to dominate, try to do quick counters, but their build-up is about getting the ball wide, and then we have lots of wide players, and I just think it's almost like a clash of styles in that game. I like Semenyo. So he's a one to watch, he's a one to watch. But I genuinely think if we go with the same 11 that we go with tonight, we'd come out on top. Bring back De Ligt.
I was about to say defence there.
Yeah, bring back De Ligt.
One thing I would note
just
as well.
Give me the light.
Just give me the light. I would say Martinez, good little cameo from him today. Looked very assured, quite controlled with the ball. Obviously, it was only against Wolves, but would you say he's getting a step closer to?
He is getting a step. He's definitely getting a step closer. And shout out to one of the listeners who calls me out all the time for my love affair of Luke Shaw, a lad called Calderand. He keeps messaging me about the fact that I go on about how much I like Luke Shaw. But do you know what? Shaw didn't put a foot wrong, and Shaw starts against Bournemouth. There's your headline.
Yeah, up top, yeah. Yeah, give it Shaw.
Yeah, give it Shaw.
But I think looking at the league now, we have made a bit of headway going up. Like we said, we're behind Chelsea just on goal difference, but the league is so tight this season, and I think a couple of wins get you up. We've missed a few opportunities, but looking at the teams around us at the moment, do you think we're in a better position than them to kind of move up the table, or what are your thoughts on that?
Well, we need to. It's one of those where the team that strings 5 wins together pulls away from the pack.
Yeah.
You know, you look down all the way down to Newcastle, who've got 22 points, who are in 12th or 13th. You know, we're in 5th. It's a mad one. You know, there's 3 points between those teams.
I've got to say, I
crazy.
really am actually enjoying this season. From a neutral point of view, that the league just not being as open. I mean, as like open shut as it has been in previous years.
Yeah.
I have enjoyed it. From a neutral point of view, it's good to see. Obviously, from a United point of view, it's a bit of a fucking headache. But
it is a headache. But it's almost like, when you've got a headache and you take a headache tablet and it just drifts away. That's Liverpool or that headache tablet at the moment, because they're just the gift that keeps on giving.
Yeah.
That 96-minute equaliser from Leeds the other day, it kind of made my weekend.
Yeah, and not to bring us down to reality with a bit of a bang, but we're still only 2 points ahead of them, which is insane considering you think about their run, obviously. But again, we're 1 point ahead.
450 million spent on the...
Yeah, words will come good. Sure. But Everton, obviously, were a point ahead then. Brighton, then Sunderland have dropped down a little bit. There's a lot of teams moving up and down. We've got next 3 games, Bournemouth, Newcastle, Villa. Where do you think we'll be in the league after that?
Well, if we win all 3, we'll be a lot higher.
I think smart. I don't know
just so smart.
Where do you get this
so
from?
Quick.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a strange one, isn't it? Because you can't... This is a season where you can't look too far ahead. You have to look at the next game. So it's all about getting through Bournemouth and making sure we've got a fit team going up against Newcastle and Villa. Newcastle is on Boxing Day, right?
Yeah.
And Villa's the one before. So I think Villa have started to put that form together. And Emery has done a really good job there, given the fact that they were kind of hamstrung a little bit by PSR in the summer and didn't really invest much into the squad, which was disappointing for them. But watching their games, they're nicking them closely. They're not really playing expansive good football. So you could conceivably beat Aston Villa and it not be too much of a shock.
Yeah, but they seem to be pulling away with the league. They're currently 3rd. They're 5 points ahead of us, essentially.
Yeah.
It does look like if they beat us, then they pull away and they're in like the top 3.
So
they're cemented. But do you think, obviously, out of the 3 games, Bournemouth, Villa, Newcastle, how many points do you think we should come away with?
I think you want to come away with a minimum of 7.
Yeah.
You've got to come away with a minimum of 7. You can't get beat in them games. It's important against Villa and Newcastle in particular that you don't get beat. Villa is the must win for me out of the 3, because like you say, you can't have them going away. But in the same breath, you have to follow it up with a result against Newcastle. Otherwise, Villa are going to just pull away again. I've not looked at Villa's fixtures, but I think they've had a few decent games. They also just played Wolves, which is a freebie. It's the only guaranteed banker, in it. To be honest, it's the only one that isn't.
For
a
90 minutes, it is a guaranteed bank. 35, it's a bit of a rough one.
Yeah, lump on whoever's playing Wolves. There you go.
That's it.
Gamble responsibly.
Yeah, don't bet on United.
Don't bet on United.
But yeah, I think it's there is an opportunity for us to move up the table. There is an opportunity for us to kind of, like I say, plant our flag in the top 4. But it just seems like it's 1 step forward, 2 steps back at the moment, United. What does Amran need to do to kind of ensure we stay consistent?
Well, James, we've just had a 1 step forward moment. So what we need to do is play the way we played in the second half. Like, keep it simple. Because it was very simple. It was one-touch football, which was lovely.
It was good to watch.
It was one-touch football. It was good to watch. Plenty of movement, plenty of tracking back, hard working. That's the system at its best, right? But you can't really use it as a yardstick because, like I said, Wolves were turd.
No, okay, yeah, that's fair. That's a fair comment. I'm very scientific of it. There you go. Then. So yeah, I think obviously that being said, the Premier League is opening up. We've got the FA Cup draw coming up soon. What are you hoping for FA Cup this year?
Salford at home.
Is that you want to get Salford at home?
I want to get Salford at home. That would be just because of all this stuff about the class of 92 at the moment, which I think is absolute rubbish, by the way. Yeah. I don't think there's a genuine thought in the Manchester United dressing room that they don't want to address previous players. I've said that pundits, ex-players, do need to step up for the cause and be a little bit more of a mouthpiece, like a certain Jamie Carragher on Liverpool. But I think this there's a fallacy because players go to hotel football. Players will do meet and greets at hotel football, so they can't be that bothered about the class of '92 when they go to their hotel on a regular basis. It's absolute rubbish and chip paper.
All right, fair. So that's the.
Salford would be the one for
Really?
me. What about you?
Do you know what? I just love like a big gate, like an Arsenal or something. Get them out of the way, beat
Oh,
them early
mate,
doors. I'd love it. I just love it. Get them out of the cup.
I don't. No, I want an easy one. You want an easy. You want a banker.
Nah,
you know,
I
you want to
don't.
see Arsenal against Chelsea.
We've tried it with easy ones. We had Grimsby. Look where that got us. Like, let's not.
We had it with Grimsby.
Yeah, I want Grimsby again. Actually, if they're still in the FA Cup,
That would be mint. Wouldn't
Imagine
it?
that.
Imagine they did the double over us.
David and Goliath Part 2.
David and Goliath parts 2. You know,
What
Maguire
did
strikes
we
back.
learn the first time round at Grimsby that we could use at the
Well,
second
I
game?
bet you he doesn't take his tactics board.
Yeah, bloody hell, yeah.
He doesn't.
Mate, could you imagine that in January?
That would be
With
just.
his tactic.
Oh my days!
Yeah.
That, you know, we're talking of lows. That was a low, wasn't it? And how do you defend that? Well, how do you defend the indefendable?
Yeah.
It's
We
like
lost on pens, that's all.
we lost on pens. We lost on pens.
It's a lottery. It's a lottery.
Brian and Mbuemo won goal of the month for his goal against Grimsby for that finish. It was a class finish, but I cannot watch that game back.
Mate, I just remember when Harry Maguire scored, I was celebrating so hard. I just caught a glimpse of myself in a mirror. I was like, how low have you got?
How low?
How low have
you
got?
are lower than a snake's belly.
Oh,
That's
mate,
it.
I felt like scum. But yeah.
Subhuman scum.
Exactly. But yeah, do you think we'll get a good cup run this year in the FA Cup? Are you even bothered about that?
I am, because I think it's what the squad needs. I think I've said this before, but the squad needs games, so we need to play as many cup games as possible. And it would be nice to have a day out in Wembley. It would be nice to have a cup, get a trophy under Amorim's belt after, you know, the disappointment of Bilbao. You know, we need to get rid of that and have some positivity back at the club. I don't look forward to Radcliffe lifting a trophy or anything like that. I don't. Something just doesn't sit right with me of seeing him sneering, you know, while he's cut everyone's dinners. But, you know,
That's it. Look at me.
like I don't mind the guy, but there's just something about me that just doesn't want to see him lift a trophy. You know, do you remember when City won the Champions League? Oh no, it was PSG won the Champions League, and their chairman was just like lifting the trophy ahead of the manager and stuff like that.
Did he have
and
a
just
full kit on?
No, he didn't have the full kit on. He didn't do a John Terry, but I feel like these chairmen now are just like overstepping the mark. They're almost like that. You wouldn't hear about chairmen 10, 15 years ago.
The
No.
captain, the team, the manager, the set piece manager. That's who the order that you lift the trophy in. Yeah.
That guy, who is he?
Set
Is he at Villa? The set piece coach. He used to be at Bournemouth, didn't he?
Yeah.
And then he went to Villa. The guy with the long hair.
Oh,
he
yeah,
looks
yeah.
and he's celebrating. I just think
That was
shove
me.
your-
That was me.
shove
Yeah.
your notebook up your ass.
There has been a lot of talk this week about Amorim's in-game management.
Yeah.
How do you think it was tonight?
Well,
what was the pros of it?
The pros of it. Well, we were both saying we didn't really like his subs.
No.
we didn't. The timing of. I think I would have brought Mainoo on a little bit earlier, but we've come out. Look, you can't call his in-game management when you've won 4-1, and we've, like I said before, our second half win of the season. I think it was good tonight. Previously, like I've said to you, I think it's been poor. I think against West Ham, he brings off. I mean, you could have took Xerxes off at half time. He didn't follow up the wonder goal. Gary Neville predicted that he'd have a bad game, and he did. And I just think the timing of the subs were off. He weren't reacting to things in the right way, and we almost gave the impetus away in that game. And similarly, I think he was a bit slow in doing the subs against Everton. But what do you think? What are your thoughts on Amorim's in-game management?
I don't think I'm reinventing the wheel by saying he's disturbing the defence too much. I think everyone's been saying that. I think for me, I think he's doing it out of necessity to try and blood in these players, give them game time. But I feel like it's far too defensive. And one of the things that I've been worried about this season is we've lacked that killer instinct where we win a game, it's like, let's put them to the sword. No, in fact, let's sit back and just sit on our 1-0 win and hope for the best and try and maybe nick one on the counter. And we saw how that worked against West Ham and stuff. And I think that's the thing that's infuriating me a little bit. I think it's something that he's getting better at because he changed up a touch today with Mainoo. But again, a raft of centre-backs coming in today. I just feel like potentially it's just showing a bit of lack of depth as well. Because if we do have more centre mids and more attacking players, would he be bringing them on? But we don't really have them options. So it seems like it's defensive changes are basically necessity based on what he's got on the bench.
So, question for you then. If you could change one thing about Ruben Amorim, what would you change?
I think for me, like I said, he's a little bit too cautious with his changes mid-game. I think he's very wary of losing a game, and I think he should be more concentrated on winning one, if that makes sense. I think he does a lot to be defensive, to sit there and say, we protect this, but he should be a little bit more ruthless because we've got the players to do that. We have got, contrary to popular belief, we have good players at United, and we've got players that can finish off teams, and I feel like we just go into ourselves. And I was saying this to someone on Sky earlier, I don't know if that's a psychological thing, because it's like we played Chelsea, we played them off the park, fair play, they had 10 men, we went on 10 men, but we just sat back at Old Trafford and just let them play the game, and they almost got it back. And I feel like we did that against Burnley, we did that a lot against other teams, we just try and sit back, and I think for me, it's something that we definitely need to work on.
Do you think that is down to the manager or it's down to the players?
I think it's a bit from column A and column B, definitely.
I
think there is that. I think there is a lot of like kind of angst, don't make a mistake because I don't want to give away the game and stuff, and that's probably where mistakes come from.
Yeah, I think if I could change one thing about Amorim, it would be his man management. I think his man management in certain situations has been a little bit off. I think if he's really got 3 years, right, and he needs to make changes, I think there's been a couple of situations where I've just, like I mentioned Malacia last week, it doesn't sit well with me. And the Kobe Mainoo thing, I think if I really dig deep into it, I think it's a little bit, it's gone too far. I think you should have just, if you had no intention of playing him or starting him in the games that we've had, why not loan him out? Why not do the best thing for the player? I think I don't like that. I think he is trying to wrestle control of almost the unruly bunch. So you've got to give him a bit of credit or sort of a bit of leeway there. But I think there's ways to do it. And I really don't. I think we're not playing enough youth players. Like, I think we're kind of leaving our traditions. Like, yes, we've had them on the bench, but really, like, when was the last time we started one of our youth players? When was the last time they played 90 minutes?
But would you argue that there's too much pressure on him to win every game, that to take these risks with the young players is too much for him at this stage? It's not like we're coasting in the league, we're battling for every point or for every goal. Do you think, like, his think is, this club isn't at the point where I can just be risking these young players to come in? So look at Fredrickson last year. He came. Yeah,
Fredrickson against Grimsby, and he has a bad game. But you kind of think, right, so realistically, if we're looking at it, we're saying, okay, you play Mainoo in a game over Casemiro. Now, Casemiro's been a good player for us this season. Would the level of Mainoo be so much lower than Casemiro that it would have a detrimental impact on the team? I don't think so. I've watched Mainoo dominate games in the centre midfield for Manchester United in a midfield that have had Casemiro and Bruno next to him, which is similar to how this formation sits. So I don't see a problem in playing Mainoo as deep. his first game where he strode round the pitch against Everton, you know, in the deep lying position, he was absolutely fantastic. I think I don't want to get too much on my soapbox about Mainoo, but it's starting to piss me off that he's not getting game time.
Well, luckily, he's going to start next week, and if you tune into episode 7, you'll hear all about our reaction to his performance.
Reaction to Mainoo. And that was probably negative given the fact that we've won a game 4-1.
Yeah, let's just take a moment.
Let's take a moment and bask in the glory of winning a game while Liverpool don't win a game.
Yeah, the Goliaths of the game that are Wolves. We put them to the sword.
Yeah.
Now it's nothing but champagne dreams, isn't it?
Champagne dreams. We need to think of a nice title that isn't like the Crystal Palace one was the Eagles shot down. So we need to do something with a wolf.
Beat Wolves, innit?
Beat Wolves, innit?
Beat Wolves, innit? All right, guys. Well, on that note, follow us on all your social media channels: TikTok, Insta, Facebook.
One before we go, we've not talked about dong.
That dong.
Well, we need your help. So we need to find Dong Fang Zhou because we've got a present for him. And we need to get it in very, very soon. Are we gonna
exclusively show off the present next week?
We are gonna exclusively show off the present next week. You will be absolutely blown away by it. And yeah, but if you know Dong Fang Zhou, any of our followers know where he is, what he's doing with himself.
I've been looking for him.
We've been looking.
Selfridges. Wasn't there.
He wasn't there.
Yeah, Oyster Bar wasn't there. Northern Quarter. Affleck's Palace. He was known to hang around there.
He was known to go in Affleck's Palace. But did he like an eclectic boot or something like that?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
he did.
Yeah. Velvet belts.
Yeah, that's it, and some some fake Banksies.
Yeah, that's it. But yeah, we've got a little present for Dong Fang Zhou. So friends of the podcast know that he's a hero of ours. So if you know where he is or have any insight on him, please let us know. And we've got a nice little surprise to show you next week, probably.
That's it. I've shoehorned that for us now. So let's make sure that we find Dong. Where's James's Dong? Where's Macca's Dong gone?
I know it's cold, but Jesus. Right, anyway. Right, on that note, please like, subscribe, follow, all that kind of good stuff. The Busby Way podcast on all your social medias, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Twitter, all that. Formerly known as X, whatever we call it these days. But thanks for tuning in. Cheers, Brad, for being with us.
Cheers. And make sure you don't hide Dong.
Yeah, wolves, innit?
Wolves, innit?
Right, catch you later.
Football, bloody hell. Old Trafford, this is the future of dreams. Will you please welcome